Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Stories World. Now let's enter in this beautiful world and listen to today's story. The story is taken from Stories to Go By, Folktale Stories for Kids. And the title of the story is The Story of the Aged Mother by Matsuo Basho, illustrated by Stella Wei. Long, long ago, there lived at the foot of the mountain a poor farmer and his aged, widowed mother. They owned a bit of land which supplied them with food, and they were humble, peaceful, and happy. The province where they lived was called Xingning. Xingning was governed by a terrible leader. He was a warrior and hated anything that seemed weak and frail. One day, he issued a cruel proclamation. The entire province was given strict orders to immediately put to death all of the old people. Those were the days when the custom of abandoning old people to die was not uncommon. The poor farmer loved his aged mother dearly, and the order filled his heart with sadness. But no one ever thought twice about disobeying the order of the governor. And so, with many deep sighs, the youth prepared for what at that time was considered the kindest mode of death. At sundown, when his day's work was ended, the son took a quantity of unwetted rice, which was the main food of the poor. He cooked and dried it, and tied it in a square cloth. He swung the bundle around his neck, along with the gourd filled with cool, sweet water. Then he lifted his helpless old mother to his back and started on his long, painful journey up the mountain. The road was long and steep. It was crossed and recrossed by many paths made by the hunters and woodcutters. One path on another. It mattered not to the young man as long as he went up. On he went, ever onward towards the high, bare top of what is known as Abasiyama, the mountain of abandoning the aged. The eyes of the old mother were not so dim, but that they noted the reckless hastening from one path to another. Her loving heart grew anxious. Her son did not know the mountain's many paths, and his return might be dangerous for him. So she stretched forth her hand and snapped the twigs from bushes as they passed. Then quietly dropped a handful every few steps of the way, so that as they climbed, the narrow path behind them was dotted, at frequent intervals, with tiny piles of twigs. At last the summit was reached. Weary and heartsick, the youth gently set down his mother and quietly prepared a place of comfort as his last duty to the loved one. Gathering fallen pine needles, he made a soft cushion and tenderly lifted his old mother onto it. He wrapped her padded coat more closely about the stooping shoulders, and with tearful eyes and an aching heart he said farewell. The trembling mother's voice was full of unselfish love as she gave her last advice. "The mountain road is full of dangers, my son," she said. "Look carefully and follow the path that tracks the piles of twigs. They will guide you down." The son's surprised eyes looked back over the path, then at the poor old shriveled hands, all scratched and soiled by their work of love. His heart broke. Bowing to the ground, the son cried out, O honorable mother, your kindness breaks my heart. I will not leave you. Together we will follow the path of twigs, and together we will die. Once more he carried her. How light she seemed now, and hastened down the path, through the shadows and the moonlight, to the little hut in the valley. Beneath the kitchen floor was a walled closet for food, which was covered and hidden from view. There the son hid his mother, giving her with everything she needed, always watching and fearing she would be discovered. Time passed. He was beginning to feel safe when again the governor sent forth heralds bearing an unreasonable order. Seemingly as a boost of his power, his demand was that his subjects should present him with a robe of ashes. The entire province trembled with dread. The order must be obeyed, yet who in all singing would and could make a robe of ashes? One night, in great distress, the son whispered the news to his hidden mother. Wait, she said, I will think. On the second day, she told him what to do. Make a rope of twisted straw, she said. Then stretch it upon a row of flat stones and burn it on a windless night. He called the people together and did as she said, and when the blaze died down, there upon the stones, with every twist and fibre showing perfectly, lay a robe of ashes. The governor was pleased at the wit of the youth and praised greatly, but he demanded to know where he had obtained his wisdom. Alas, alas, cried the farmer. The truth must be told, and with deep bows he related his story. The governor listened and then meditated in silence. Finally, he lifted his head. The province of Xingning needs more than the strength of youth, he said gravely. Ah, that I should have forgotten the well known saying. With the crown of snow there cometh wisdom. The very hour the cruel law was abolished, and the custom drifted so far into the past that only its legend remains. Alright, so this was our today's story. I hope that you have enjoyed this story a lot. If you want to read the story yourself, you can always go in the description of the video and read the story. I will meet with you with another story. Till then, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.